Whoa, that was quite the journey. Let me introduce you to this dapper looking chap. This is Francis Frith, and in the early to mid 1900s he went about documenting the whole of the UK and a lot of the wider world with his camera. I recently picked up a copy of this book of a lot of his photographs of the Yorkshire Dales. As I've been leafing through it, I've seen lots of familiar places, but it's almost like looking at them through a window into the past. And it's made me wonder, will people look at my photographs with as much interest as I've been looking at Francis Frith's photographs in another century's time? Or will they just be confined to a series of noughts and ones in some kind of futuristic digital dump? I can't help but think that in recent times, photographs have become extremely disposable, as we place all of our emphasis on trying to make a success out of them in the here and now. All of this has given me the idea for a little project. What if I were to head up into the Yorkshire Dales, following in the footsteps of Francis Frith, and stand exactly where he did when he took his photographs, documenting the same views from today's perspective. Not only looking at what's changed, but also creating another visual stepping stone in history. The first of Francis Frith's photographs that I'd like to replicate is this one from above the village of Kettlewell in Wharfdale back in 1900. Of course, back then they didn't have access to drones, so it means a little bit of a climb uphill. After quite a bit of manoeuvring around, I think I've found the exact spot where Francis Frith must have stood to take this photograph of Kettlewell. Although it's changed out of recognition with all of the trees that have sprung up around. I was expecting some things to have changed, but mainly in the urban areas rather than the natural world. But these trees are absolutely incredible. But it must be the right place because we've got the walls meeting here, although one wall has fallen down quite a bit more and there is a farm track in between them now. And the church is on the right hand side of the village, and Great Whernside, the hill on the horizon up there, is positioned pretty much where it is in this photograph. So yeah, I think we're here. So I'm going to get my camera out and take my first shot. I was going to mention how the car park has taken over the field at the other side of the river, but it seems like the trees have taken over everything. Now I've got that first shot in the bag, let's head down into Kettlewell to try and recreate this photograph of the Racehorses Hotel. The layout of the building doesn't seem to have changed that much at all, although we have lost two chimney stacks, and instead of being able to park your car outside the front of the hotel, you can now sit out there and breathe in the fumes of the cars passing by instead. I've moved a little bit further down Wharfdale now to the little village of Kilnsea, which is famous for its overhanging craggy rock. It's here where I'd like to try and recreate this photograph by Francis Frith, taken in 1900. I think Frith must have used a telephoto lens for this shot, because the crag just seems a bit more prominent in the frame. I must have got the angle of the shot right, because the window's cropped off at exactly the same place on the left-hand side. It's just that my wider angle lens hasn't compressed the perspective quite as much. My next stop was just round the corner in the small hamlet of Coniston. In the village, just like in a lot of places, the telephone box has been converted into a defibrillator storing station. So instead of receiving heart-stopping news over the telephone, if your heart does stop, you might just stand a chance. My aim in Coniston was to recapture this shot, taken in 1960. Out of all the comparisons that I've done so far, I think this shot is probably the one that's most unchanged. Yes, there's railings instead of a wall around the triangle in the middle of the village, and that ash tree has grown up quite a lot. And of course there's no sheep or farmer. But other than that, the barns, the layout of the village, it's pretty much identical. My next port of call was the beautiful little village of Linton, famous for its stream and packhorse bridge framing the stunning views. I was aiming to recreate this shot, taken in 1955. Again, it's the trees that make the difference. The rest of the village is pretty much as it was, apart from the railings at the side of the stream. Who says that they weren't still safety conscious back in the good old days? Francis Frith obviously used black and white film to take his photographs because that was what was available at the time. So for my project, I've decided to photograph in colour using digital because I feel that's what's in keeping with the technology that's available to me now. Just like any considered photography project, something like this needs quite a bit of planning. I suppose I'm treating today as a bit of a recce to head out and see what's possible. I've already found with a few of my shots that the light is quite harsh and potentially in the wrong direction. And I've also found that a lot of the trees are obscuring the views that I want to photograph. So I've been thinking that maybe returning during the winter when the light's potentially a little bit softer and the leaves aren't on the trees obscuring the view might be a good way to go. But until you come out and try these things, then you'll never know. So if you're planning on starting a project anytime soon, then just pick up your camera and get out there, because that's always the best way to kick things off. Anyway, I've got two more shots that I want to try and recreate down in the village of Burnsall behind me here. So let's head down there and see how we get on. The first shot that I wanted to recreate was this one of the Red Lion Hotel, taken way back in 1926. To say that this shot is nearly a century old, nothing really much has changed, apart from a couple of television aerials and some bijou outdoor seating. My last comparison of the day was further down the river. This photograph, again taken in 1926, of the boats on the river with the bridge in the background. Apart from more overhanging tree branches and a lack of boats, again this scene is very much unchanged, and I think it goes to show that time is very much a human concept. The rest of the landscape just seems to go along with the flow. Although our cameras might not be Doctor Who's TARDIS or the DeLorean from Back to the Future, they do put the power of time well and truly at our fingertips. If you look beyond the audience of today to an audience of a century's time, then you never know. Your photographs of the here and now might just become documents when our present becomes somebody else's past. If you'd like to see me take this project further, then please let me know in the comments section below. And if you want to see how somebody from the past's work is still standing out to this very day, then make sure that you check out this video next. I'm going to head off to see what more I can find in the world of space and time with my camera. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. I think it would be good if the next Doctor Who wore a flat cap.